Hey everyone, it's me, Varlo. I just got back from seeing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and I really wanted to share my thoughts on it. I haven't done a movie review on my channel in a really long time, but I figured I'd make an exception for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 since Sonic is a topic that I talk about on my channel a lot. As many of you know, I've been a Sonic fan since childhood, so this series means a lot to me. The Sonic movie franchise got a rocky start with the hideous original design for Sonic, but they eventually got it right and we got two pretty decent movies out of it. I was stoked for the third movie after how much I liked the first two. Just a warning that I'll be diving into some relatively heavy spoilers, as well as spoiling the post-credit scenes of the movie, so just be warned. Before I get into what I thought of the movie, I'd like to tell a quick story. I went to go see Sonic 2 the day it came out in theaters, and was completely unspoiled on Shadow's reveal in the post-credit scene. Before I could even check social media to see what other people thought, I ended up in a pizzeria with my girlfriend and was fawning over how Keanu Reeves would be the perfect choice for Shadow when the time comes. I'm happy to say that my foresight was correct that day. Keanu Reeves made the perfect Shadow the Hedgehog. Sega must have tapped my phone or something. Anyways, saying Sonic 3 is the best movie of the trilogy is a complete understatement. Somehow IGN gave this movie a 6 out of 10, which is their lowest rating for the trilogy. That's actually mind-blowing to me because this movie is a masterclass in good video game adaptations. This game is closer to the source material than ever before. Everything just felt so true to the games. My favorite reference to the games in this movie had to be Eggman's suit. Eggman progressively looks more like he does in the games with each movie, which is great. Seeing Eggman's game outfit fully realized in live action was truly a feat. Something else that I noticed is that with each new movie, the human cast is featured less and less. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, but their purpose dwindles with each new installment. The main cast of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are as great as ever, and they share some really funny moments. They have such great chemistry together that you can really buy them as friends. Of course, I also have to highlight Dr. Eggman and Professor Gerald Robotnik. Jim Carrey nails it as both of these characters. It's funny to say that two characters steal the show in every scene they're in when both characters are played by the same guy. I really hope they find a way to bring Jim Carrey back again in Sonic 4, which I'm sure they will, because I just can't imagine these movies without him. He's as much of a part of their identity as Sonic is. Jim Carrey claims to be in retirement, but he seems to come out of retirement every time there's a new Sonic movie, so I hope we have more of Eggman for years to come. Finally, I'd like to discuss our favorite edgy hedgehog, Shadow. As I alluded to earlier, Shadow was incredibly well done in this movie. He was my favorite part by far. The opening scene of the movie with him breaking out of his capsule was actually insane. It was bone-chilling to see him escape and totally wreck all those gun agents. They gave Shadow a lot of emotional depth in this film, and we get to spend a good amount of time looking at his past with Maria, which is always appreciated. This gives us a window into seeing what Shadow has had taken away from him and why he's seeking revenge. He's a character that you can really empathize with, which is really awesome. Something else that I want to highlight is how awesome the action in this movie is. All the fight scenes were absolutely wicked. My favorite fight scene was the fight between Sonic and Shadow during the final act. Seeing them fight all across the world, zipping around it in the blink of an eye, was awesome. That moment when Sonic finally dealt a meaningful hit on Shadow was so epic. The best thing I can compare it to is in Rocky IV when Rocky finally manages to cut Drago's eye. The CGI for this movie has never looked better. The environments look great and the CGI characters look great as well. The CGI has never really been bad in these movies, but each movie it gets better, which is always a welcome addition. Something else that's improved is the film's humor. Of course, this movie is ripe with cringe humor like its predecessors are, but it seems like this time around they really understand the humor that their target demographic is into. It's obviously cringe, but there were a few moments that genuinely made me laugh because of how hilarious they were. Jim Carrey is the king of this cringe humor, and every scene with him, I had a smile plastered on my face. While we're talking about humor, the rest of the people in my showing had no sense of humor. No one cheered when Maria died. Incredibly sad. I don't want to talk too much about the story because I think this is a movie that everyone should check out in theaters for themselves, but I will say that the final act was awesome. Seeing Sonic and Shadow both go super with Live and Learn playing was truly cinema. For me, this is basically the equivalent to Captain America picking up Mjolnir in Endgame. Obviously, we now know that Sonic 4 is confirmed, but this ending would have been a fitting ending for the series if they chose to end it here. Apart from the post-credit scenes, everything is tied up nice at the end. Sonic and company get their happy ending, and the world is safe. Even Robotnik gets his closure with Agent Stone, who is pretty much just thrown aside by him throughout the movie. Speaking of the post-credit scenes, they were incredibly awesome. The first post-credit scene literally had me gobsmacked seeing Amy and Metal Sonic. I know it's early days to be fan casting Amy already, but I think Jenny Slate would be perfect for Amy. We already know her and Ben Schwartz have fantastic chemistry together from Parks and Recreation. Even if they don't pick her, I'm sure whoever they do get will be awesome. I'm so excited to see her adapted into live action. As many people know, Sonic CD is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time, which introduced both Metal Sonic and Amy for the first time. If Sonic 4 is to Sonic CD what Sonic 3 is to Sonic Adventure 2, I think we're in for a real treat. The second post-credit scene was simple but incredibly effective. Of course, the ultimate life form wouldn't be killed that easy. I'm sure Shadow is going to be a big player in the Sonic cinematic universe going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his own spin-off show like Knuckles did. Hopefully his hypothetical show will be much better than what we got for Knuckles. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoyed this movie. I knew that going in, but there's always a part of me that was terrified it was going to be really bad. It's rare for a franchise to stay this consistent and keep improving with each sequel. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm such a big Sonic fan, but I think it does what it sets out to do incredibly well. I can wholeheartedly recommend it for any Sonic fan. To be honest, I could totally see myself going to see this movie again because I really loved it that much. If you're on the fence about seeing it, I totally would. You won't regret it.